Hello everyone. This is our inaugural episode of VeloChata, a cloud migration vcast or webcast, if you will. Nothing super fancy, just meant to be quick little episodes where we talk a little bit about cloud migration topics for a couple minutes. So I wanted to do something fun for our first episode today. And I'm a big fan of Disney, Disneyland, Disney World, stuff like that, if you don't know, which you probably wouldn't. So it occurred to me that a lot of the lands in Disneyland actually kind of nicely map out to how a cloud migration project might be going. So I thought it would be fun to kind of rank the Disneyland lands against some of the cloud migration projects that you might be experiencing today. So what we'll do is we'll go in order, basically from the happiest, smoothest cloud migration land to the worst. So the first one actually is New Orleans Square, and that may seem kind of weird. I wasn't really sure how we were going to bucket New Orleans Square, but then it occurred to me New Orleans, as you all know, is a pretty fun place, lots of partying, lots of happy people, which says to me that if your cloud migration project feels like New Orleans Square, then it's probably going really well. If that's how you feel, great. You're probably doing things well. You laid a good framework. You picked a good tool. You have a good partner, whatever the case may be. So honestly, probably not much we can add here, except to say if you feel like your cloud migration project is as fun as a party, then job well done. Hats off to you. Good work. Number 2 on our list is Tomorrowland. Here again, well planned out. Things are going well. You laid a plan and you're sticking to it. Basically, you're on budget and using the resources you picked appropriately. But here's the issue with Tomorrowland, as Walt Disney learned. Times evolve faster than you can make updates. So what I mean here with respect to a cloud migration project is maybe you've gone all in on one of the big clouds, right? But who is to say in a year or two, one of the other clouds or a new cloud might offer something really cool that you want to capitalize on. But now you're kind of like vendor locked into whatever you picked first. So that's what comes to my mind when I think of Tomorrowland. Things are basically going well, and if you're happy with that one cloud, great. But if you ever want to take advantage of multi-cloud or move to a different cloud, you might be kind of stuck. But one of the ways to avoid this is actually just to work with a partner or a migration solution that either supports multi-cloud or bouncing between clouds or whatever the case may be. But there are ways to make sure that you're not locked into one cloud, so you can still have a great cloud migration without feeling locked in. Number 3 on our list is Frontierland. So obviously people lived in the frontier times. They lived good lives, but not without hardships. Like it really wasn't, that easy. It wasn't easy like we have it today in a lot of cases. So in this case, I'd say that things are going, pretty well, but it could definitely be easier. Maybe things are taking a little longer than you expected. It's a little more expensive than you thought. Maybe you're running into challenges you didn't quite forecast or run into during the pilot. So all of these, challenges probably don't add up to needing a major course correct. But if they do kind of continue to add up, you could always consider slightly modifying your strategy or looking into, migration solutions that make things a little bit easier. For an example, some migration solutions actually don't let you automate super easily. So maybe if you're spending too much time on your migration, finding one that lets you better automate or order a lot of these migrations in parallel would take you from Frontierland and maybe into Tomorrowland. So kind of along that theme, number 4 is Adventureland. So once again, times were probably pretty tough, living off the land, wild animals attacking and things like that. So we're getting into kind of like dicey territory here where you might actually be experiencing a lot of fire drills in your cloud migration projects. Things are just not going the way you need. And one of the things that comes to mind for this might be a result of the architecture of the cloud migration tool you've picked. A lot of them rely on what's called replication, where you basically have to transfer everything into the cloud before you can even test or validate or do anything like that. It can make things take a long time. It can make planning your maintenance windows hard, because if you don't know exactly how long all that stuff is going to take to transfer, then it's really hard to plan your maintenance window. So things almost go kind of backwards, right? You have to move it all before you actually know if you want to live there. Kind of odd. So in that case, you may want to pursue a migration solution that uses a different architecture, one that uses something that gets the apps running in the cloud a little bit faster, a little bit sooner. You can do your in-cloud validation a lot easier and then keep yourself on track. The other thing that comes to mind, some solutions require agents to be installed on all the servers that you migrate. That's just one additional layer of complexity that you've got to worry about. You've got to install them, you've got to configure them, you've got to see how it might interact with other applications or services on that server. So all things to consider if you're getting into Adventureland territory. There are definitely ways that you could potentially rescue yourself from Adventureland and bump yourself back up to like a Frontierland or a comfortable Frontierland or a Tomorrowland or something like that. So number 5 on this list is a slightly different trajectory. Number 5 is Fantasyland. In this case, you've probably not actually started the cloud migration. It probably came down as some kind of edict from the executive team or something. They basically said, hey, IT, we've heard all about this really cool cloud agility, so move everything, just get it done, with no consideration really for budgeting or resources, time, anything like that. So someone is probably living in kind of like a fantasy land, or that might be what you're thinking. But to be honest, there are actually some great partners out there and some great solutions out there that can actually get you into the cloud easier and cheaper and faster than you might think. So even if you think you're in a fantasy land situation, it might be worthwhile to do some investigating, see what's out there, and maybe you can accomplish all of your goals, or at least 50, 60, 70% of your goals, and then you'd be a bona fide IT rock star, really overcoming challenges in spite of pretty enormous hurdles and keeping your exec team happy. So the 6th and final land on this list is Mickey's Toontown, and this would just be if things are going totally bonkers. I mean, everything's off the rails, things are on fire, nothing's working, line of business managers are angry. This kind of project might be in such dire straits there's not much you can do, but it would be time to seriously reconsider, take a step back and reconsider everything. What migration strategy are we using? Are we trying to rewrite instead of do a lift and shift and then customize and optimize? Have we picked the wrong partner? Are we using just the worst solution out there, to migrate to the cloud? There's a lot of things that can cause a cloud migration project to go totally off the rails. Some can be fixed, some maybe not. But if you do feel like you're in Mickey's Toontown, then it's definitely time to reevaluate kind of the process that you've gone through. So anyway, those are the 6 lands in Disneyland that we wanted to align to cloud migration projects. If you relate to any of these, let us know in the comments or via social media, what resonated, what sounded like your project, and if you were having issues, how did you overcome them? We'd love to hear that too. If you have questions for future VeloChata VCast, let me know. Drop me a line. We're happy to answer questions and things like that. And other than that, thank you so much for joining us on this inaugural VeloChata VCast, and we look forward to talking to you in the next one. Take care.